So today I wanted to do a really quick video on one of the items that I think a lot of people might care about. We get a lot of requests for people asking details about how I did certain things. And one of those things is how I finished all the wood in the trailer. It's something I didn't really think that hard about when I started this. And then I started building everything and I was like, what am I going to finish this with? How's it going to turn out? What's going to be durable and hold up over a long period of time? And so I started doing a lot of research on it. I knew a little bit about different polyurethanes and things. And I found this product. This is Osmo PolyX High Solid. It's a wax-based polyurethane. And it creates a really durable, hard, beautiful finish on the surface. It's designed for furniture and things like that. So I thought I'd go over real quick how I apply it. And tell you a little bit about it. I don't have any affiliation with these people. It was just recommended to me and I did some test work with it and just really like it. So this is actually the second quart of this that I have bought. Everything else in the trailer was done with one quart. And I probably could have done this last piece with what was left, but I accidentally left the lid off and it started to go bad, but it was almost used up. So one of the beauties of this stuff is that it goes, it lasts. You don't use very much. It'll cover a lot. And I've put multiple coats on everything to try to get a good, thick, durable surface. So a couple things to think about. You want to apply this as thin as possible and then wipe it off. And in high use areas, I've tried using 3 coats and it looks pretty good, but you'll still start seeing some scratches and wear. I did that on my table at first. I think it had 3 coats and it started after the first 5 or 6 trips. I could tell that it wasn't going to hold up. It wasn't quite enough for a really high use surface like that. So I took the table surface back out, brought it in here, and I put another, I think 4 coats on, just lightly sanded before I started. And it looks, we've used it another 5 or 6 times and you can't even tell it's been used since then. So that brings up one of the other big advantages of this is that it's very easy to reapply. You basically just very lightly sanded it with 220 grit, wiped the surface really well so there's no dust, and started applying it again. So it's really easy to repair and touch up with. Some other materials take a lot more work to prepare the surface. So I consider that a big plus. Another big plus is that it is very low VOC, so it's not going to off-gas a bunch. It's got a little bit of smell of polyurethane. When you put it on, it's gone within, 20 minutes. There's no way it's going to cover up the nice cedar smell from all the cedar I have in the trailer. And I couldn't be happy enough with it so far. And I think we've got enough wear and tear on it, even though it's still pretty early in the process, to see how it's going to hold up. So let's go real quick over how to apply it. And I'll do one more coat on this. This right here is just the trim piece that is going to go below the bed. I don't know if you remember from my initial video. There was a trim piece just below the bed that I hadn't applied yet. So I cut this. I had to notch it out for a couple things and get a nice thin. This is hickory. So planed it down so that it's the right thickness for what I need. So we're going to do that. And then I have a untouched piece of Baltic birch plywood. So you can see kind of the shift in color that it produces, though I figure you can kind of imagine that, but you can see it going on a first coat. So let me move the camera so you can see it a little bit better. All right, we have everything here we need. Let's go ahead and pop this open. I don't know why I didn't put my other glove on. Okay, so first thing, like all polyurethanes, I'm going to stir. Definitely don't want to shake this. Before I take that out, this is Scotch-Brite white pads. They're just abrasive pads, and this is by far the best way to apply this stuff. It allows you to put it on nice and thin. And since this is such a small piece, I'm honest, I'm just going to use a little tiny piece of this. So just needed that so that I could get this off. All right, so got a little bit on there. All right. So the way to apply this is just to dip that in there And you want to, I would normally start at one end and work my way through, but it's not really in the camera. So what I normally do is just work it into the wood in a nice circular pattern. I'm gonna go off the screen here probably. Gotta get the ends. So just in a nice even circle. Now you see at one dip, and I've already covered over half of this thing, and I'm just gonna touch it up just a little bit more. And that's all I'm gonna need for this entire piece of wood for this coat. Now the very first coat tends to take just a little bit more because there's a little more soaking in that goes on. Get an angle here, make sure that I got it all. You think I probably put that on thick. This bottom edge isn't going to be exposed, but it's all right. Okay. Forgot to get a rag. I'll wipe this with a paper towel. Normally I use a rag for this, but it works okay with this. And you're just going to wipe off all the excess. Get it nice and smooth. If you leave too much on there, it'll get tacky and sticky, and that's not what you want. Make sure you let the stuff dry completely so that before you put another coat on. So that's it. I mean, it's super simple. I usually let it rest for at least 6 to 8 hours in the summer here when it's really hot. It's going to be done. Don't leave the lid off. Okay. Tighten that up later. That's basically it. Let's see if I can get some glimmer and you can see some of the finish on this. It's got a really nice kind of satin sheen to it. I don't know if that shows up or not, but I'll show it to you on the inside what it looks like. Okay. I can't recommend this stuff enough. I'll put a link to what I use, which is the satin version of the Osmo Polyx oil, and then of course the little white Brillo pads. But you don't need much, that's for sure. Okay, should do it. Okay, and then just real quick, just so you can kind of see this go on. This is the change you get, and you can see a little bit better how I kind of work it in to the wood. Now I didn't sand this piece down, so it's making a little more noise than normal. It's soaking up a little bit more of this than it normally would, I think, because the surface isn't quite as fine and finished. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a brief preview of how to put this stuff on. In fact, I probably got even a little too much right here. It's all right, I'll wipe it all off. But this hard wax coating over the surface is what gives it that kind of beautiful sheen and durability. So same thing I showed you before, and you just gotta wipe it down. Wipe all the excess off. Again, I usually use a rag, just a clean rag. I didn't get them out. This actually seems to work just fine. That's it. So now you can see that it brings out the grain a bit. It yellows it slightly from before, gives it a nice warm color. And you put a few more coats on, and this thing just starts to sheen really nice. That's it. So really quick, we're gonna attach this trim piece that I just finished staining to the front here. The funny thing is I don't have enough. If you look, I can't push this back far enough to clamp it in place. I don't have any brad nails long enough to glue it from the to attach it from the back side, but I want to glue it on. So I'm gonna glue the back side, and then I'm gonna screw it from underneath. But without clamps, I can't hold it in place. So I brought a helper. Come here. This is Claire. She's gonna help us. She's gonna help hold this in place. All right. So I'm just gonna put this way. I'm not gonna put a ton of glue. I don't need this thing, you know, like perfectly on there. I don't want it squeezing out anywhere. Just to strip down the side. Just like that. So, okay. And then, Claire, what I need you to do is you're gonna hold this. See that little groove right there? See how they line up? This is the groove for the attachment for my linear actuator to slide through. It just was a little too high. So when I tell you, you'll see where I am. I want you to hold that really tight. Like put all your weight into holding it in place, but see how it starts to slide? Don't let it slide, okay? Now you put your finger right there. Let's try this. You're short. Just keep pushing it, just like that. Okay, you're good. Just like that, I'm gonna do it. I'll be right back. Oh, that drill bit's no good. It just broke.
What? You just broke a drill bit?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, that was fun, but the power of an 8-year-old was not quite what we needed, was it? It worked pretty good over here, didn't it? But you just couldn't get enough leverage there.
Yeah.
So, we'll do it the other way. We're just gonna fit this clamp. I can get it through here, I think. Let's see. Take a little finagling, yep. And just clamp that down. Now, I'm still gonna use you though, all right? I want you to make sure this thing doesn't start to come up. Let's see if we can get this one. This one's a little tighter. There we go. All right, make sure it stays down.
Okay.
All right? All right, let's check it out. Ah, you did a good job. It's all where it's supposed to be. Let's see if we can get these out. So we tried it the hard but fun way first. That didn't work. We had to go with clamps because I couldn't get these little ones in. And you really did help in the middle because I needed you to hold it down. Got a nice finished trim here. So the only reason I had to counterseat the drills bits on the backside, which I didn't show you, was because the length of the ones were either going to be too long, so they'd come out the front, or too short, and they wouldn't engage. And so I countersunk them a little bit so that I would get enough grip to hold this thing down and in place. So let's take a look at this. And you can see the finish on the stain. So let's take a quick look at the finish on these. The top one's been in use for a few trips now. You can see the finish. Obviously, I mean, a few trips isn't much of a test, but it's in great shape. And the bottom one is what we just added. So we now have a nice finished piece instead of that exposed little bit of pine board that was used for the framing that was there. And it extends to the other side. And there's a little notch there that I had to create so that the reinforcement brace for that linear actuator could pass through. So pretty minor. Anyway, this is what that Polyox Osmo stuff looks like in practice. This counter right here is one that we climb on and off of all the time, getting up to the trailer. So, and this has been here since day one, and it still looks really great. Probably if you catch the light just the right way, you'll find some scratches here and there. But again, as I said, it's really quick and easy to reapply it, and as something starts to look a little bit worn, it'll look like new again. And you can see Claire admiring the work she just did. And Claire would like to remind you to like and subscribe, and we have other videos on the channel with other parts of the trailer build and a full tour. And again, I'll put links in the description for the supplies used in this video. Thank you very much.